Okay, so now I see Daryl. It looks like he's at a shipyard, and it looks like he's there in the Philadelphia experiment. He watched the whole thing. Daryl, what's going on? Why are you there? You didn't stop it. You're observing it. He said no one could stop this one. And I asked why. He said there was something very dark on the earth. Very, very dark. He said it almost affected the whole consciousness at that time. Some terrible things happened then. The war, the discord between different peoples. He said, they're all human. Why did they treat each other like this? He said, we don't understand it. We would never do such terrible things to each other. He said they shifted. It wasn't because they didn't know what they were doing. The one that was doing the controls did something that they weren't supposed to do on purpose. Almost hoping that everyone would die or be in terrible pain. I said, were they all human? Who was behind this? He said, I can't say. He said, it's not that I don't want to say. It's just that I don't fully understand it. It's more like a wave of energy, like an influence in overriding consciousness. If I were to interpret it as an energy, it looks like a black cloud over that time period. It was a time in history where humans didn't have the proper emotions. They seemed to be happy. They seemed to have families. They seemed to do what is necessary as far as caring for one another. But there's something very wrong. It's not like many other times in the history of humanity. If this was my first encounter with humans, I wouldn't like them. But I know this is not their authentic way. This is not who they really are. If you saw the look in these people's eyes, the pain, the horror, the nightmare of returning back, the betrayal of knowing that someone did something they weren't supposed to do. When you pass through time, everything is revealed. You begin to understand more of what is true and what isn't true. It's like passing through death. So all of those that went through the Philadelphia experiment became very awakened. And it changed the way things happened in the future. I asked, does it change it for the better or for the worse? He said both. It brings in a violence into the earth that didn't need to be here, almost like an open portal, because when you shift things in and out of dimension, you welcome in others to return. Another entry of alternate realities, alternate beings. But I'm asking, what was there in the first place? How did it get there? And he said Poland. There was a ship over Poland. There was a ship over England. But Poland brought in something very destructive. Well, what about England? He's saying that England did it many years before. These portals. The same thing. Somehow they got into the quantum field and shifted things, opened them up in ways that they weren't supposed to be, and welcomed in levels of darkness. So are you saying that this was a creature or some kind of species or an alternate being or just like a collective energy? He said all of the above. He said there's a man there on the ship. He's like one of us. He's not in your secret space program, but he's from our timeline or in the future. And I asked him, how did he get on the ship? It's best to not tell you, he said. But he wasn't harmed. We spoke to him. He was sent on a mission long before us. And we set out to find him, but didn't expect to find him here. And this concludes part of our mission, is to find some of the others. He knows where all the others have gone. So we're going to follow him and find out what he knows. Are you leaving with him now? He said he's not ready yet. I can't tell you what his name is. I know you just asked me. He said he wants to say goodbye. Some of these people, he has a great deal of compassion for them, and some of them are suffering very badly. And some of them will continue to suffer even though that they're going to live. And others will be sent off into other missions. It's a horribly cruel thing to do to a human soul. We like him, but I don't know how far we're going to go with him, because he has a different point of view about things, and I think that we are not as affected as he is by everything. He said he doesn't know what else to tell me. He was showing me some kind of clock that looks like it was tilted and burning. He said he doesn't feel right. I think he's getting sick. It's okay. It's all right, Daryl. Why don't you go and take care of yourself? He said, I have to go now. He's just leaving. He said, try not to get attached to this space. He said, it's not a good place to have any soul aspects, or he said it can create so many anomalies. Let everyone know if they go to travel here, don't travel at this time. Travel 20 years before or 20 years after. I said, I'll let them know, Daryl. I said, does that have anything to do with the looping? He goes, yeah, has a lot to do with it. Well, that was an interesting conversation that I had with Daryl Holt. I wasn't expected to see him there at the Philadelphia experiment, and I think even more surprising is that within the experiment he found someone from the future in the same time period that he's from, but it looks like he's an adult. Maybe, I don't know if he's between 20 and 50, I couldn't quite tell. He seemed older, but he also has, it's part of his mission that he finds some of his other people to get an idea of what they've also figured out and make sure that they're all right. So I suppose more is going to happen, but it looks like Daryl got sick from probably looking at the devastation of what happened there. And a very, very wise suggestion is that people don't try to go and visit and observe and experience what happened there. Okay, well, thank you for listening in, and bye for now.
Trouble, 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 bad dog in my soul since the day I was born.